front door is locked and your phone is switched off. It's match time, and nothing can come in the way of a head coach and his Blood Bowl.
Hello everyone. Welcome back. I am joined here by Stygian. Hey.
Hey.
Hey. And we're looking at a match that he has played. I won't tell you the outcome, I guess. I actually forgot it myself, which is great. And so you picked this match with a reason, I guess.
Yes. Well, quite a few reasons. One is that I think it's probably one of the best opponents I've faced so far.
Viking Cop is definitely a skilled opponent, yes. Knows his way around chaos, for sure.
Yeah. And also because a lot of things I did, I knew was like right in spirit, but not right in execution.
All right, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm afraid there's quite a lot of stupid mistakes as well. I think at some point you'll probably see me going somewhere and then like, oh, I need to dodge out and stuff. Because there's a few stupid mistakes, but still.
Well,
I think it might be a good game.
I see you've got the the have as many journeymen as you can plan down for this team.
Well, they call it a plan. I see it more as a state of being, since I never have enough money to replace anyone, so I'm not bothering.
Mm-hmm. I love the dancer, by the way. He's spectacular.
Yeah, he's my little baby. Though he's getting a lot of heat from the other coaches, so he's gonna meet his end at some point.
Could you tell me a little bit about the league that this is in?
Okay, this is in G-Man Division 8, I think. It's a pretty bashy division as far as they go, I think, with a lot of mixed coaches, both a few pretty good ones, like Viking Cop, for example, who's just or recently re-rolled, and then we have myself and another one who went up from Division 10 or ramp up from last season. Yeah.
All right.
But most people are familiar with Rebel, of course. So.
Yeah. So starting off, I like the tree behind the LOS because it makes it harder for him to connect everyone, and you're gonna get the tree stuck in anyway. And I mean, we see in Viking Cop's decision making that he hasn't gone for the very ambitious plan of clawing the tree turn one. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think he would, though, if I put him on there. So.
If you put him on the line, he would have done, but one square behind actually makes a lot of sense. So setup, no comments there. Ball being on the ground turn one is, of course, spectacularly good for you. Getting tackle zones on there. I guess the plan is for that catcher to actually be the one to catch the ball later?
Yeah, I think you're a bit ahead of me.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I'm watching your blitz and GFI fail turn one.
Yeah, that was one of those mistakes. I missed the guy behind the tree, so I think I could push the guy away from the from the ball with the blitz. That left me. Yeah. And that left me in a very bad spot for the retrieval, forcing me to do that GFI. And yes, that catcher is meant to get the ball, if I remember correctly.
It looks like you're planning to get Animal Mother.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
2, 3. I would probably not leap at all here. Yeah, exactly. Very good. Dodge skill being better. Yeah. Reroll loss earlier wind up costing you. That sucks.
Yeah.
Still, what I do think happens here is you're very committed on the plan that you will get the ball and that it will work, right? What you could have done is sent one player. There's two things. Either you swarm the ball to make sure that the pickup is harder for him if you fail, or you perform the plan, which is getting the ball to that dancer, and if it works, you send people in to protect him. Because right now, you've sent a lot of protectors who could have been defenders.
Yeah.
See what I mean? Because the failure didn't need this many people in that side of the pitch. And if it was a success, you could have sent them afterwards. The only problem is if you, for example, failed the catch on the dancer before the protectors are there. But right now you're giving up so much space on the left due to planning for success over planning for failure.
Yeah.
That takes a lot of recovering.
I kind of always expected me against teams like Chaos, when they have a lot of movement 5s, that I'll get back into position.
Yeah, but if that takes you 2 or 3 turns to get into position, that's 2 or 3 turns you could have used more productively, basically.
Yeah. I think I'm like, it requires my 2 best players normally to get the ball, the strength 4 dancer and the agility 5.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of like loath to leave them there if it fails. I'm like having like, oh, let's take all of this space instead of.
Well, in this case, you didn't use the strength 4, but yes, I can see that. But in general, making sure that you're not just planning for what happens if this works, but also for how bad will my position get if this fails. Because in this case, that's really what got you, I think. I like Grab as first pick on the tree, by the way. I think it's great.
I like it.
I'm almost sad that my tree on my woodies rolled movement as his first skill.
That's pretty sweet as well, though.
Yeah, especially after a while.
I have my tree staying down 2 full games, first half, or 2 full games. Just refusing to stand up, so I would love that.
So I guess you'll want to pick up Tackle on Joker, or maybe you have already, because this is a past game.
Yeah, he has skill again, and I haven't chosen yet, but I'm 95% sure it will be Tackle.
Yeah, I mean, Frenzy could be an option, but with your only strip ball,
Yeah. And I mean, it's a bit of shame that I rolled strength after I already took strip ball.
Yes.
But it's still not completely wasted. I mean,
no,
strength,
absolutely.
it gives me a lot of 2 dice on ball carriers.
So what I'm seeing here is you say, well, I'm way faster, so I'll get back into it. Well, you do, but right now, I think this was, I would not have wizarded here.
Yeah.
There's your players are so out of position that recovering that is pretty tough. Where's your agility 5 over there?
Yeah. Yeah, this was.
And the reason they were so out of position is because they were so committed last turn.
To the right flank, yeah.
Yeah. And again, I see a lot of protecting the situation if it succeeds, but if it fails, then you don't really have much to go on anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, intercept chance.
Basically, it's the same as the first situation.
Yeah.
With.
I mean, in this case, it works, so that's good. I mean, you do get your agility 5 leap guy surfed, but that's not that big a deal. Well,
if it died, it would have been.
Yeah, but he's done his part, right? This is what he's for.
Yeah.
All right, he's surfed now.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have control of the game. The other thing is, it's actually a little bit early for the wizard in general, in terms of if you score quickly, you give the chaos time to score again. If you want to not score quickly, then you spend some time stalling. Also, while the strength 4 dancer, well, I guess him being on 48, he's actually a nice target. Because normally, I would want the ball not to be held by him simply because you want to blitz with him every turn. Deal some damage.
Yeah.
In this case...
really though...
Yeah, go
ahead. I've never faced a chaos team quite like this one, with all the tentacles and tails.
Mm-hmm.
So I was pretty worried about getting as close to them as I usually get.
Okay. I'm going to pause here for a sec. Actually see what you're going to do. Yeah. What I see here, I see you with a bunch of options for where to go. And you're choosing the left flank. I would have gone for punching straight through his sure hands. Blitzing with the mighty blow makes sense, but blitzing the sure hands would, if you manage to get that guy, suddenly you have way better chance at sacking the rest of the game. Right? If you get a Kaz on his sure hands and run off, then you can score early and actually say, you know what, while I still have a team, let's go 2-0 in the first half.
Yeah.
So the sure hands, if you have strip ball, then his only sure hands is always a prime target. So if he exposes that, then I would definitely consider hitting that first.
Yeah.
There is a bit more, bit easier safety to be had on this side, of course. So I get that. Ooh, that was a scary one. But I think with your speed and his lack of tackle, running into the right back after the blitz on Warren the Warped would have been fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tentacles and prehensile tail, huh?
A lot of those. I tried to remove some of the tails because they were really in the way, but...
Yeah, it's definitely an atypical Chaos team, that's for sure. So, sideline cage looks fine. You're not even giving him a 6+ dodge to surf, so that's all good. Gonna have a hard time stalling for 3 more turns, though.
Yeah.
So I guess you score on your 5, giving him 3 turns to score back.
Sounds about right.
Right. I'm just going to skip ahead a little bit. Alright. So I'm now doing your setup. So again, I mean, aside from suffering 2 Kaz, this is pretty good, right? You're in a good spot. 1-0 after kicking is pretty great. You still got a bunch of players. But I think if you had that turn where you wizarded, I would have gone in front of him, just stopping his advance for a turn, forcing him to be closer, which gives you more options for the wizard and retrieval turn. And also means that your natural pacing for scoring will be a bit later. If you wizard on turn 4 or 5, then you typically score on turn 7 or 8.
Yeah. Yeah, 3 turns is a lot.
Yeah. Now, obviously, suffering punches is fairly typical. Not much you can do about that.
Nope.
I do think he's taking some risks by leaving the ball-carrying beast alone over there for so long without acting on it.
Yeah, I think he was probably pretty comfortable playing against me, so I think he maybe went more for the punches than he normally does before going safety. I don't know, that's just guesswork though.
Yeah.
I mean, his positioning is much better than mine, so I have a hard time reacting on most of the things that he does. So I think he felt that.
Ah, he wanted to go for a handoff. Fair enough. Fair enough. Right, so... Hey, Viking Cop! Hello! Yeah, the guard tentacles warrior would have made it hard to get a decent sack there. Might have considered it, but I guess so. I think the real best time for getting in his way would have been the turn where you wizarded. Also, the thing is, the threat of the wizard is actually really nice to force him to adjust his positioning.
Yeah, just having it does a lot, or sometimes more than maybe using it.
Especially against good coaches. I often find that simply hanging on to it when I can means that they're limiting the way they're willing to not make a full cage because of fireballs, to not make their position too wide because of lightning bolts, and so they wind up forming their team around the threat of the wizard instead of around my player's position, which is of course kind of crucial. So here, 2 turns left for Viking Cop. That Strength Dancer is scary as always. But at least he's got sure hands on the ball now. Yeah, leading with the half die is not going to be too appealing. The tree is in no shape to give you a 1 die even. Yeah, so now you're basically stuck trying to get in the way instead of getting your sacks in, which for this numbers situation is understandable. Okay, that's good. If that dancer could just make a 3, yeah. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I could have seen these 2 placed diagonally, I guess. Thank you, Manus. Thank you very much.
Diagonally, how? I thought that if I did that, he'll just blitz through the side.
I guess he's just going to go for a handoff play anyway. Yeah, well, you don't really have the player count. The thing is, the columns work well when they're matched up, but when you don't have one on the outside, then they work a bit less well. But I guess in this case, the handoff play makes it irrelevant anyway. Thank you, Manus. I will have a look at those later. So yeah, I think the main thing to learn from this half is not to overcommit on assuming success, and the timing of the wizard. I mean, you want to have a good shot, and I think your shot now might actually not have been optimal. It worked, but
yeah, I didn't see the pensive tail by the ball either when I went to the retrieval. Otherwise, I would have gone the further dodge way, not the short one getting surfed and giving him interceptions. But I didn't dare do so many dodges by pensive.
Yeah, but also just the pacing of a wizard matters a lot. Now, I guess you might think, will I get... Usually what I think about when I have the wizard is, do I think my chance will potentially get better than it is now? And in this case, I don't think... I mean, you have agility 5 leap, so you don't need an ideal chance. As a matter of fact, this wasn't nearly an ideal chance. Okay.
No.
1 turning. You have the catcher there, you have grab here. Yeah. Push, south, follow. Kill up there. Yeah. Pretty usual things. Oh, well, that's rather rubbish.
Close.
At least you have dodge there for this. No sure feet. 3-die pow. Alright. Yes, Viking Cop. That would have been a bit more preventable, perhaps. But instead, you got a stunned catcher out of it. I won't claim that that's never happened to me.
He thought it was turn 9 here, I think.
I think I actually saw that come by on Discord. Thank you to all of my patrons for helping make this channel possible. Would you like players named after you too? Then you can become a patron via the link below. One point in the conversation. Alright, you get your guys back, that's all good. Yeah, sidestep would make the one turn a little bit easier. But I can't fault you for picking blocking guard at all, so no argument there.
Yeah, and that's my fourth catcher. They all tend to die, so this time I thought let's take block and maybe it'll survive a bit longer.
Wait, this is your offensive drive, and I see you. Oh wait, I was going to say I see you blocking with loners. I could see you consider blocking with one of the dancers and blitzing with the other. Because right now you're using your blitz where you could have used a block. Like I would probably block with the tree, the 3 SPP dude, and either the dancer or the dodge guy. Because right now you've set up for 3 blocks, but you've got loners on 2 of those spots. And I mean the tree makes a 3-die, of course, but I'd rather keep the loners not blocking, and in this case you've lost your blitz action on something that could have been a block.
Yeah, I was afraid of the blitz. So maybe that's over.
I mean, I can see why you wouldn't want to use your dancer there. That I can get. But the guy with just dodge, for example, he can throw a punch. Better than a loner.
Yeah. Yeah.
He can use the SPP, you can use the armor breaks for positioning advantage. Sorry, I got distracted by chat for a second because they're funny.
No.
So what's your thinking here? I see you sending loners forward.
Yeah, at this point I was thinking that I felt that he's outplaying me. So I just sent the loners there and hoped that he would commit a lot of dudes to them. And then I thought I'm just gonna run as fast as I can the other way and do a quick 2-1 and then pray to God that I could draw against him.
Yeah, that's fair. That's not a bad idea at all, to be honest. I don't mind the catcher hiding in the back either. I mean, you want to spread out the game a little bit in this case.
Also, he has failed to catch a ball and pick up the ball. Okay, now at this point, yeah.
Hey, Knorr viewers, welcome. We're just doing a replay analysis. One of my top patrons, Stygian, has asked me to have a look at one of his past matches from last Monday in G-Man. And yeah, so far the Chaos seemed to be doing pretty well. Did he get stuck on tentacles? Yes. Wait, did you choose to end your turn with that loner still there? The Haspin.
Yeah, but that was a mistake. I thought
Okay.
I had already tried with him.
I see. Because the one who was stuck on tentacles, well, fair enough. He can't get away. But the other one could have dodged away from Teo, I believe.
There were 2 tails on him. So I was like, I'm going to do him last because that's
Yes.
minus everything.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Forgot.
Yeah, it happens. But yeah, those are the kinds of mistakes. They're not necessarily what you want to learn in terms of positioning skill, but I guess focus is still a thing. Making sure that you keep an eye out for details, like players hiding behind your tree. It's not.
Nice.
Yeah, it's not what makes a great coach, but it's still what can lose you a game every now and then.
Yeah.
So, are we going for the pass here then? Yes, we are. Fair enough. So, the thing is, I like carrying with the catcher because movement 8, but the big downside, of course, is that you don't actually get to use the catch skill. What you can do is keep the catcher in the midfield as a redistributor. So, you can hand off to him and he can pass, or you can pass to him and he can hand off. But that way you still make use of his movement, but you also make use of his catch skill.
Yeah,
because having him in the back means that you're wasting that. Now, of course, ideally you'd have a skilled up thrower, but you know, Wood Elves are pricey as hell. So.
Yeah.
All right.
But would you like have another, even another player further back? Would that? It feels like it would leave the top of the field a bit naked.
What I could see is keep the dodge guy, for example, in the back, or the dancer if you didn't want to risk him. I would probably be blocking with the dancer, keeping the dodge guy holding onto the ball in the back, and keeping the catcher in the midfield somewhere. Ideally, 7 squares away from the dodge guy so that he could hand off.
Yeah.
And then the catcher can use catch when handed off too, and can redistribute wherever you want. I think that's a nice game plan. If you want to rely on passing plays, but in this case, being outnumbered and in a hurry, I can see that being a value. But okay, so far things are going sort of according to plan. I mean, basically, if the one turn had worked or his second drive had not, you would be on your way to a win.
Yeah.
So this approach could get you quite a few games already. But yeah, player count. I mean, 2-2 looks quite likely. He could push for a score, but against Woody's, I don't think he's even going to try. So my guess right now would be you ended this in a 2-2 draw. The trick is, of course, to keep your Mighty Blow Dancer safe. Ooh, murder. To keep your Mighty Blow Dancer safe long enough that you can get a really freaky sacking attempt in. Which you're doing very well right now. Tentacles is showing to be the murder skill that it really is, because it gets him extra blocks.
Yeah, they were horrible. I mean, they also make so many avenues that I would like to normally consider not there.
Yes. Yeah, I can definitely see how that's frustrating. They're not something that he can rely on stopping you, but they're definitely not something you can rely on just getting past either. So it makes the game more
deterring.
unpredictable. Yeah.
I prefer when they just go for claws. It just gives me a lot of...
As Wood Elves, yes. As Wood Elves, this is very frustrating to play against. Well, strength 4 tentacles are very flaky. So let's see if he gives you an option here.
Tentacle.
Cheeky. So I would actually be looking at the possibility of a sack there.
Alright.
For example, sending... I mean, the 1 die is easy to get here, I think. Trying to figure out... your turnover was a bit quick. I think you had a decent shot at the ball potentially. It was going to wind up in a position where you are very far forward, but at this point, your chance of actually stopping him if you don't hunt the ball aggressively would have been pretty slim anyway, right?
Yeah.
And if you can pop the ball and he fails to pick it up 1 turn, then suddenly you're looking at a potential win. So I would have gone for aggression at that point.
I think I contemplated it, but I didn't want my war dancer there with the wrestle and the dirty player.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. The the tendency to protect very valuable players is real. The problem is their value, not their cost, but their value decreases when you get too protective of them.
Yeah.
No! Oh! Oh, that bastard. Did he just strength 4 tentacle you twice in a row? Oh.
Yeah.
That
Against
is
my
just
strength 4 as well.
mean.
So that,
Yeah.
I was going for a 2 die there.
That's
on
a
the
6.
ball.
That's a 6+, I think.
Yeah.
I don't.
And it was, I think a 6+ with a reroll for a 2 die felt like
Let
a
me
good
go back
shot.
for a second and see whether I would have handled that differently. Because Velenia is saying not a good leap. Hold on. So.
It was the only avenue that I could find after like 1 minute of trying where I could actually reach the ball for a 2 die. And the other ones that could give me a 1 die went through a lot of tackle zones and some tails. So I figured that they seemed to be like around 20-ish percentage to work, and the
What
leap
about-
was a 3+ and then 2 6+.
Yeah, I guess you could have gone from behind.
No, I tried that. It needed a lot of. I can go
Yeah,
see if I can go back.
you'd need a 3+ with loner to get there. Yeah. To be honest, that the tentacles escape. Two, three. The tentacles escape 4 against 4 is not something you should be too concerned about. Yeah, rough.
I even tested a square further to the side, but then I couldn't reach the ball, so I need to go through a tentacle. That's the only spot I could find anyway. Or a lot of tackle zones and tails, and for 1 die.
Yeah, I think last turn would have been a better shot. Also position-wise.
Yeah.
So I guess the main takeaway there is, again, a bit more higher level psychological, being willing to risk your good players. Because the fact, if you choose not to risk them, you're basically making them worse players without even suffering an injury, right?
Yeah.
But that's also something that comes with playing a lot. when you first get players like these, they become super important to you. And when you've had a couple of strength 4 dancers and maybe even a strength 5 dancer, I have one of those. Then you start to realize, you know what, these players are only worth their team value if you're willing to actually make those blitzes with them.
I think I probably had been more partial doing them this stage if I still had my agility 5. I know that's not right, but I think that my mindset would be more like that.
There's definitely something sensible about that, because everything here is a matter of risks and benefits, and or costs and benefits, risk and reward, and the chance of getting the ball out of a play like that is dependent on your chance of retrieval, which would have been way better with the agility. So I don't blame you for making that part of your consideration. I just think that it would have still been worthwhile going for it.
Yeah.
And nice, Velenich. That's even more of a disgusting team. Yeah, can't blame him for fouling your dancer. Hey there, KM Gaming Hub. Thanks for joining in.
By dance you mean catcher?
Yes, sorry. Fouling your strength 4 dancer. So yeah. Yeah, I think overall, don't overcommit on hoping for success. Time the wizard. Be willing to risk your best players. And focus, because that one. I mean that's one that I'm very guilty of as well. Sometimes it's just hard to keep everything in mind.
Especially when Viking Cop is always singing Macho Men in your ear while you're playing.
Well, there's no rule that says you have to allow him to sing to you. I mean, you couldn't mute him. Yeah. To be fair,
it sings very nicely, so.
A draw against Viking Cop is not a bad result, right? I mean, a draw against. Also, Wood Elves playing against Chaos that have Little Claw and a lot of tentacles and tail, that's not necessarily easy. Viking Cop is claiming that he has your consent. Well, that's not necessarily what he says, but close enough.
Well, it's close enough to the truth, actually.
All right. I hope this was helpful for you.
Yeah, I think so. I'll probably rewatch it one more time with those words, more being able to focus more afterwards, perhaps. But yeah, it made a lot of sense.
Cool.
I'll see if I can put it to use as well.
Yeah, and I'm sorry it took a while before we could do this. Definitely open to doing it again sometime.
Just 6 months or something.
Right.
We got to do it. That's the important part.
Okay. So, for others who would be interested in this, this is something that I do for hire. I forgot what my rates were because I haven't done this in a while. Anyway, PM me and I'll make something up. Stygian, thanks a lot for your continued support, of course. That is very, very much appreciated. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, remember to hit the thumbs up button. If you want to see more of my content, then do press the subscribe button and the little bell, and I'll see you around.